Hello, my name's Faith Bailey and I'm about to be the curate of St Peter's in Yatesley. I wonder how many of you have listened to the radio programme, The History of the World in 100 Objects. Well, I would like to give you the history of my faith in 3 objects. And these here are the first. And I find myself sitting here looking at all this paraphernalia and contemplating getting ordained in a few days' time and wonder, how did I ever get here? Whatever am I doing? Most of my contemporaries are thinking about finishing work in a few years and having a relaxing and enjoyable retirement, and I'm starting out on a new career. Well, I guess career doesn't really carry all the expected implications, so I could say starting out on a new calling. But actually, it's not a calling or a new calling. I've always had, as long as I can remember, a calling to follow Jesus Christ. And here is the second of my objects. I was baptised as a believer at the age of 14, and somebody gave me a card with an acrostic written on it, and it said, "Faith, forsaking all, I trust him." And that's what I was doing when I got baptised, making a commitment to forsake all other and trust Jesus. Now that's a really big commitment to make at the age of 14. In fact, it's a really big commitment at any age. But I had decided to believe what the Bible said was true, that God loved the world so much that he sent his only Son, that whoever believed in him should not perish but have eternal life. And other passages talk about life in all its fullness. So following Jesus seemed the logical thing to do. I believe because I know the overwhelming love of God. At 14, I was idealistic and romantic and had heroic ideas of what forsaking all meant. And looking back, it hasn't really been like that. It's been one small step, one small decision at a time, always trying to find the steps of the Master, always trying to follow Jesus Christ. So how come at this stage I've embarked on the road to ordination? I think my specific calling came about 10 years ago. I'm quite slow on the uptake. I had a real sense that there was more that God had for me, and I was really frightened about missing it. So I pushed lots of doors and looked at many things, and they were good things, and some of them were really exciting, and others were things that fulfilled my inner 14-year-old romantic notion of forsaking all and trusting Christ. But none of them was where God was leading me, and I got to the stage of saying, if this is all there is, God, this is all there is, and it will have to be enough. And finally God spoke to me, specifically, and I'll show you my third object. And I wonder how many other people can lay their calling to ordination at the feet of a 24-year-old pop star. I was watching the news late one night with my husband, and we saw the ambulances arriving at the Manchester Arena and watched horrified as the events unfolded. The screen was full of confused and frightened people, and nobody knew what was going on inside, but everybody knew it was bad. And I just knew in my heart that had I been there, I would have wanted to have been inside the building, praying and ministering Jesus to those people who were scared and injured and dying. But even if I had have been there, I wouldn't have been allowed in. It was blindingly obvious to me that the only way for that to happen was for me to have an official badge, and for a Christian in the Church of England, that's a dog collar. And so here I am, 3 years later, about to be ordained. And you know, I've never regretted forsaking all to follow Jesus Christ. A song sums up my story. Through all my life, God has been faithful. For all my life, he has been so, so good. And I have no reason to doubt that will continue from now into eternity. And I would like to say that it is never too late to start following Jesus. And should you decide to, his faithfulness and his goodness will never let you down either.